All right, let's just get into chatting with the sales bot. And I'm just gonna start with hello, hello. I'm just gonna start with hello because the thing is that I'm using 4.1 mini right now, and that bot actually thinks a lot longer and actually uses the tools when you ask it to call the tools in the system prompt. Versus when I use 4.0, sometimes it doesn't call the tools. Even if you have the correct names and you tell it like you have to call the tools, it won't call the tools. So it's just something I've noticed that with some of the AI LLMs, they don't always do as you ask them to do. But with 4.1 mini, it takes longer to think, but it does what it's supposed to do most of the time. So that's why I actually enjoy using it. So as you can see here right now, it's just simply going through a couple of questions in a sequence of sort. And as you notice, like the thinking time, it adds on in terms of like slowness. So, but I will say that's far better than having a tool that just like an AI that doesn't use the tool. And the most interesting thing about this AI agent that I've actually built right now is that I use Supabase to store the session ID and the memory of what I'm saying right now and the phone number as well. So everything I'm saying right now is storing everything inside the Supabase. So in case I come back in the future, it's gonna have the long-term memory of what I've said and being able to pull everything about what I've said and use that to essentially help me further along down the line. Marketing. Because you have the short-term memory like Simple Memory or Rails, for example, but when you use Supabase in this case for long-term memory, it's just gonna store everything, and that is actually really good. And that actually also helps in terms of like the bot learning about you as a person and just like figuring out who you are with time. So it just gets easier and easier for the bot to actually sell over time as well, because it starts figuring out like, okay, what kind of person this actually is. And yeah, as you can notice, like it takes some time for this bot to really think through and do all of those tasks that I've asked it to do in sequence. And that's why it takes a bit of time to actually reply to my messages right now. All right, and now it finally replied and it said, that sounds good, but do you have any discounts? And this is just me testing it out pretty much in terms of like giving it some hardballs pretty much. I haven't really said much, if I'm gonna be real, but I've told it that the entire goal is really to try to sell the products and just push ahead. And I mean, I did say marketing, and it's just gonna push ahead and be like, okay, all right, I understand what you want. You want marketing. All right, and then he mentioned that they have a flat rate. And can you please check if discount, if there is, I will buy today. Let's see what it says on that. It's just gonna be interesting. I'm of course gonna show you the entire flow in terms of how it works. It's not really a hard flow. I won't really say that. It's mostly that I will say the hardest part about using these chatbots is actually making sure that they call on the tools that you want them to call on. if as long as they actually call on the tools and you have all the data inside those tools, whatever it is, if you have a knowledge base in Google Doc, or if you have, oh yeah, now we replied. Okay, I can go ahead with the payment link. It's probably gonna send over the payment link, but since the payment link is not a real one, it's probably gonna stop there. Even if I might just tell it that I'm just gonna go into the payment link later, etc. But there's no real payment link in this case. But what I was saying before is that the hardest part about these bots is really making sure that they call the tools. As if they call the tools, it's more about just attaching the tools to them and having a clear system prompt, and then you're pretty much done, because then you just need to add the tools you need to add, and that's really it. That's at least what I found to be the hardest part about building these like AI bots that are supposed to talk with people. And of course, the longer the system prompt is, no, that's all. Yeah, that's it, because that's not a real payment link, so it's not gonna work. But that is essentially the entire chatbot in the works pretty much, and that is essentially how it works. And now I'm actually gonna go over to the computer and show you the entire flow and the Supabase, and just show you like how I actually made this work. All right, let's get into the flow right away. So this is actually the entire flow. And as you can see, it doesn't really have a lot of different nodes, but when it comes to chatbots, what I've started to realize, you don't really need that many nodes, at least what I've started to realize now when I've been building some of them. Send the message here, right, on WhatsApp as usual. You receive the message on this webhook or WhatsApp trigger. Then you edit those fields by adding in some data. Yeah, pretty much over here, as you can see, message, text, WhatsApp ID, which is the phone number. I then send over that data like as a prompt to use the message. And then we have the system message. And as I said before, like the longer the system message is, I won't say like the longer it is, the better it is, but the more guardrails you have when the AI tool is working and like doing its things that it's supposed to do. So that's why I've started to really fill this out that, all right, these are the tools you have. I will say the most important part is making sure that the tool section is correct. That is, and also like naming the tools in a way where it's easy for the LLM to understand like what tool is supposed to get. So that's why I use like FAQ_tool, and just tells it like, this is how this tool works. This is when you need to call this tool. For example, always call the CRM tool, or always call the update memory tool, or always call the get memory tool. And of course, we have simple memory for the chat itself, where I add, right now the count is, the key is 455, because if I put in my own WhatsApp ID, sometimes it remembers me. So since I want to clean like chat conversation, I just put in a random number. So that's why I did that. But of course, normally you will have the WhatsApp ID in there. But besides that, this is just, this is the Google tool where we have, so here is the FAQ document or a Google Sheet. Essentially, we have the product information over here, what they do, etc. And if we go over here to the FAQ as well, here are like some common questions they might have. And here's like how we can check the question and then essentially use the answers over here. So that's like one way you can use it. And then if we go over here to the, what is it called? The CRM. Of course, the CRM is pretty easy. You have the name, phone. It's just a standard information really. And then you just update. It updates this all the time pretty much. So yeah. And then we have the Supabase, essentially where it stores my entire, like everything I've said during that conversation, it stores all of that with a session ID and a phone. Like it adds it here, like everything. So as you can see, it just keeps saving everything I'm saying and remembering that. And then to finish it off, we send a simple WhatsApp message. That's pretty much it. It's like, so yeah. I mean, I'm probably just gonna share this as usual in the link below. That's it for this video. And if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.